Hello, my beautiful collective. It is Kai, and this one might be a little triggering. This is for the people who have experienced very volatile, intense amounts of anger. This is for my angry folks. So, just to get into it, one example that I can give you guys is truly when there's a situation and you get so frustrated and you think it's not fair and you want things to change so badly. One of the biggest things that I've learned with anger specifically is your boundaries are being crossed. You yourself are not being respected, right? That's how you feel. You want someone to act a certain way. You want them to do a certain thing. You want it to be exactly how you deem it to be right. This is why I only say that this might be triggering, because if my past self were to hear this, she'd be like, "Bitch, what do you know?" And it's like, God, I wish I could just show you guys how fucking angry I was. But that version of myself doesn't exist anymore. Which is crazy, because truly, one of the things that really came to light, that really caused me to change, was when I realized that it really hurt someone dear to me, who had very good intentions, that simply wished to just be around me and wanted to. It was interesting because this is someone that I too just wanted to be around, but I had my own insecurities, my own inferiority complex. There's so many different levels of anger, frustration, like when you're driving and this person's going hella slow and you're like, bruh, why? Why? There's so much fucking space in front of you. All these simple little moments. And when you don't acknowledge this anger that bubbles up in you, it's so fucking dangerous. It can get so dangerous. And I don't just mean for other people. I mean genuinely for yourself. And one of the biggest things was that I was so angry because I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel understood. I didn't feel like there was any space for me in my family environment, in my adult figures. I felt like my frustrations, when you say it's so not fair, it felt like that. It truly felt like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to make this very clear. Disclaimer, by the way. All this is based on my own experience. I'm in no way trying to tell you what to do or what works best for you. Please use your discernment. I'm just going to speak with you pronouns because that's what works best, so that I can relay this message for people who are actually open to listening. Because if you're listening this far and you actually want to change this part of yourself, that is the first motherfucking step. Gosh, sorry. Almost choked on my own saliva. So, if you're willing to change, welcome. My name is Kai, and I used to be a really fucking angry little bastard. I was so mad that it was just super unsafe, and that I felt like I had to scream at the top of my lungs for a message to be relayed, for someone to listen to me. And it obviously left an impression. It's hurt many people. And one of the things that I really wanted to bring forth is that the biggest thing about anger is it's allowed me to see how much I've disrespected myself, how much I haven't spoken up about the things that matter to me. Just because they don't fucking matter to anyone else, who fucking cares, first of all? But if you do care, okay, let me just take a step back. If you do care about how this other person is responding to you, there's something that you really could, if you wanted to, address. Why is this person's opinion in response more significant than your own opinion and response to a situation? If you're fucking upset, be upset, first of all, okay? Genuinely feel that emotion. This is such an important emotion because it's going to tell you so much about what ticks you off and what doesn't work for you, right? And one of the biggest things about that is that even then, there's so many levels to this, by the way, so this is gonna be a big one, because I've been putting off this video simply because I am very aware how my own self that was very angry would not even listen to a fucking word of this video. She'd be like, no, they deserve me to be angry at them. Do you see what I did there? Because truly, that's a reflection. That is a direct reflection of how I treated myself. I felt like I deserved to be punished. I felt like I deserved to be belittled and disrespected. I felt like, to an extent, even if it was subconscious, that was my reality. At some point, it was my reality to be okay with shitty treatment because I also was treating people shittily. Hurt people, such a fucking real ass phrase. So I recorded a short and I was like, anger management is so fucking interesting, because truly when you learn to understand that this emotion isn't here to control you, it's giving you context. It's giving you so much fucking context. Because your emotions are valid and they matter. Period. And I'm not saying like, oh, like, one of the biggest things is detachment to an extent, because you can't control another person. You can't control even the result of something happening from your own actions. Yes, you can try to mitigate it. You can like be a little detail oriented. You can make the best efforts, but trust me when I tell you it's going to be so much better if you just let go. If you just let go. Because you are giving energy directly to this person, this situation, this environment. You are literally siphoning yourself into this tunnel, and it will suck you fucking in so deep. And if you need to go down that road, then so be it. Because truly, I have learned so much from being an angry little bastard. Because truly, that in itself clouded my judgment. I pushed people away. I cut people off. I've said some words that I don't mean. Even to this day, I find myself understanding that I've let my anger control me because of the fear. Truly, the opposite of love is fear, in my perspective. But the opposite of love is fear. Because when you relax, when you're receptive, there's nothing to fear, because you're not trying to control, you're not tensed up. You're just letting life present itself beautifully as it is. And you utilize your lens, your eyes, to witness this world in the ways in which you tap into. So if you're going to be angry about a situation, this is not going to be the same for everyone. That frustration, that anger of being treated so fucking shittily, but also in a very emotionally unstable environment. That's what cultivated this reactivity, this fear, this survival mode. It triggers me when someone snaps, because obviously I was traumatized as a child, you know? And then it's realizing that there's so many other experiences that I've literally had where people get upset and they've communicated so clearly. But you know why? Because I introduced this conversation with myself. It has to start with you, because the only person who can get to you is you. The only person that can dig deep enough to truly understand why the fuck you're so angry, you know? What exactly about this situation? It's not about this person. It's about how you're responding to what is being presented to you. And it's also how you're actually perceiving this to be in its entirety. It's not your fucking responsibility how someone is going to respond or react to you. It's your responsibility and duty on how you have this level of awareness within yourself so that you can be more of you. I spent so much time being so angry and frustrated. And at some point, I was screaming almost every day with my mom in high school. Every time that I came home, which was honestly barely. I was constantly having these arguments and I just got so tired, and I was literally telling her, she was still yelling at me, and I actively was just like, no, I'm not gonna fucking do this anymore. I am so fucking sick and tired of this shit. I'm done. There's this thing in my family where in the past, right? In the past, it's not always like this anymore. Sometimes it might happen, but you never know. Anyways, I had this thing where if you brought something up, it would immediately be reacted to. Not a response, a reaction. You're stupid, that's stupid, like, I don't care. No response, silence treatment, like, literally, I feel my throat chakra act up a little bit by talking about this. The reason why I'm willing to share my own experiences is because truly that's all I know. So I cannot speak for you. I truly cannot speak for you. This is not what this video is. If that's what you're receiving, once again, perception. And it's not my place to try and convince you. Like, I'm not, no. Like, I used to be so angry and reactive and so defensive. That's what it was. My ego, my pride was so strong. And I'm still facing myself when it comes to these things, because truly my dream and goal in life is literally if I ever have kids, to work through these things, to do it step by step with them, to show them that I'm a safe space. Even my friends, anybody, anyone that I hold dear to me, those people, I want them to feel safe. And if I'm going to be reactive and defensive and judgmental and critical, like very, like, then how can I be open to someone being soft to me? How can we truly allow there to be a moment of relaxation if we do not give it to ourselves? For me, I had that experience where this person opened up to me and said that they just didn't understand why I hated them so much. And it made me realize, like, wow, I've not been a good person to this person, this other being who literally is just experiencing their own life and going through their own things. We all have our own vices and we all have our own traumas and conditionings. It doesn't really make us that different. Even if we do have these challenges that other people can't relate to, we all have our own struggles that we go through. So this is why I'm so passionate about these things and talking about all these experiences and how I'm healing and how I'm learning, how I'm letting go. Because I want to create more space so that I can have experiences that truly align with me, my inner core, my inner child, the things that I would have just wished and prayed for more of in my childhood. I'm showing up for my inner child. Because all I wanted to do was fucking literally skip around, play Foursquare, play kickball, dodgeball, like sing and dance. Like, these were the things that I wanted to do. So I literally gave myself that. I literally decided just to give it to myself. Because my mom isn't going to do it. My dad isn't going to do it. My brother isn't going to do it. And my sister isn't going to do it. They're not going to do it in the ways that I would. Another good way to regulate your nervous system, because sometimes when we tap into our anger and it's very dense and eruptive, I have realized that to an extent, because of this like triggered reaction, but like triggered response, truly. Because primal shouting and stomping your feet has helped me so much. Because I realized even when I'm shouting, I can literally feel my energy getting drained. So I only do it enough where I let go of just the anger. And then I'm back to center and I've cleared up space and now I can feel myself. I can feel myself settle down. Because anger is a fucking human ass emotion to have. It's not to let it go so that you disregard what actually fucking bothered you. No, it's so that you can actually face the root of whatever the fuck is considered the problem for you or whatever. So that you can actually make proper movement, proper actions. And therefore, you no longer have to embody this emotion to such an extent where it literally debilitates you. One thing was like, whenever I was angry, I just couldn't talk to anyone. I was one of those people where it's just like, don't fucking talk to me. And to an extent, still kind of like that at times where I'm just like, now is not the time. But I'm not like as reactive where I'm like, yeah, like don't fucking talk to me, you know? I like say like, I don't have the space right now. I appreciate it, but now is not a good time. Learning these new phrases, learning how to communicate myself, giving myself the space to experience this emotion so that I don't invalidate it or disregard it or repress it, because then it becomes fucking eruptive and then I erupt and everything fucking explodes and all things just go to shit. Because I'm sure a lot of us can think of our angry selves as scary. As like scary. I really wanted to share this because this was such a big part of my karmic lesson that I was going through. I was just so upset. I was just so upset that I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel supported when it came to my dream of being a K-pop singer. And I was the one who gave it up. I listened to the words of people around me that said that I wasn't good enough, and I believed it. And because of that, I grew up on that, and it affected me into adulthood. Because even to this day, I'm still facing myself every single time. I'm not perfect. I'm in no way better than you or worse than you. We're just out here doing our fucking thing. We're living our life. And that is why I'm willing to share this point, because I feel like it's helped me so much. To not give my power away so quickly. It came with anger. Because I realized that I was letting this external factor and entity or energy or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I was not going to allow. I have built this like healthy enough form of pride where I'm like, I'm not going to let this control me, and I'm not going to belittle this person's experience. Because when I was noticing that, like, if someone gets really upset with me, like, for example, I have a good example. One day, I was sitting outside of a cafe, and I was enjoying this Danish little treat and Danish coffee, and I was just sitting there, and I was feeling like shit. I felt like absolute shit. I felt disgusting. I felt ugly, all of those things. And this guy sitting at this other table, well, actually, first, he walks, he's staring at me, he turns around, and he comes to sit at this table, and he literally just stares at me. And I was not in the mood. I was not in the mood to be, like, objectified in that moment. And if you know, you know, because the way that they look at you, it can be very fucking objectifying and over-sexualizing. And then I just asked him, I was like, hey, I just would appreciate it if you would stop staring at me. And this man just fucking erupted. He just exploded on me. He started yelling, screaming, and being like, you're such a bitch. Like, God, I just think you're fucking beautiful. You think you're the shit. Blah, 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 blah. All this fucking noise. And I literally just started laughing. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what is happening right now? Like, literally. And I stared at him and I just sat there and I was like, seriously? Seriously? You're going to... And then he didn't even let me talk. So that's when I knew that he just didn't have the space. But then I kept trying. I was like, wait, no, seriously though. Like, why are you so upset? You could just say no. Like, I can't control you, you know? And so then, just for my own safety, I started recording a video, or I pretended to at least. I don't know if I actually posted it. But and then he finally walked away because I wasn't giving him any more of my attention. Do you see how that works? That eruption has nothing to do with me. And to an extent, I was like, no, if you feel that offended, valid. Doesn't mean that I need to take on this energy just because you're the one who's not capable and doesn't have the capacity to control your anger to an extent. Anger management. It doesn't mean that anger is invalid or something that you should repress or deny. I'm repeating myself again because truly, that is the most frustrating feeling, when you feel like you don't matter. When your voice doesn't matter, no matter what you say, no matter who you are. It's this image that people will just fucking throw onto you. And it's like, okay, that's sounds like a you thing. It's not really a me thing. I'm still learning, man. I'm still fucking learning and expanding, but I wanted to share this experience because I finally feel like I have a better grasp of being able to see the situation clearly. Sometimes, yes, I do feel myself get defensive because I don't like someone or I don't want to interact with them more than I need to because I don't want to do it, but sometimes I need to do it. And that's one of those things where it's like, it kind of makes me think of adulting in that way where it's like, I may not want to go on my 30-minute walk in the morning, but I know that that is going to help me build this thing that I want, that I desire. So then in other words, if I want to achieve this, I need to do something about it. You know? So it's having this space. If you don't have the space to like address this, I'm not talking to the right person right now. I'm not talking to you, bro. Like, I'm literally talking to the people who don't want to do that anymore. Like, truly. I just didn't want to do it. It just took so much fucking energy, man. And then I realized, like, wow, I was allowing my anger to control me. And so now, recently I had an experience where I felt myself get triggered, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But I feel it. I know you feel that shit, bruh. I feel it. I'm here for you. Motherfucking all the way through. All the way motherfucking through. I'm not gonna give up on myself, and I'm not going to belittle another person's experience because of their own level of maturity. That's what it is. Because when you mature, it means that you actually look back on your experiences. And if this isn't something that's not noted by another person that you actually care about, okay? One of the things is, I love this quote. Don't take advice from someone don't take advice from someone whose life you would never live. That's the same exact concept when it comes to, like, for example, if I'm just saying whatever I'm saying, right? And it offends someone or hurts someone's feeling, but this person is someone that I don't know. This isn't someone that I'm actually having a genuine connection with, because then if they have a problem with it, it's their responsibility to bring it up to me. And also my place to inquire if something is wrong. But if this is a connection that isn't like that for me, then I'm not going to ask because I don't care. You know? It's that level of like not caring. Not because I'm not going to like how do I explain this? Holy shit. Like, even though I quote unquote don't care, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be, or it doesn't mean that I'm going to be a shitty person, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be perceived in that way from this person, because I'm not going to give that effort. This isn't a connection that I want to build. So therefore, I'm not going to put in my energy and attention and effort into it. Period, point blank. That's it. So that's why when it came to this experience, I recognized that I don't know what's going on in their world. I don't know what it's going through their head, what they're perceiving. But if they have a problem, they will bring it up to me. And that's the kind of environment that it was. So when it came to this experience of the emotion, I did have to shout on the way home because I was just like, bye. I was like, bye. Like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I get it. You're upset. That's cool. It doesn't mean that I need to take upon this energy. It was like understanding, like, I'm actually not upset about this person being upset about what I'm doing, because I'm still doing my job. I'm still following protocol. And if I say that, then it's really obvious what I'm talking about, but whatever. Because I truly, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm a human too. I only have so much space. There's things that I value that are of priority to me. And that does include specific people in my life. I can't be friends with everyone because I'm not meant for everyone. That's such a fucking, like, weird ass way of thinking. That to be, like, good with everyone, you know? And to also be bad with everyone too. It's so not as black and white as that. I promise you. It's not. And I don't mean that in such a definitive way, but truly, we are all multifaceted beings. We have different levels of experiencing things as long as we're willing and open to expanding our experience. It's our own fucking choice. That's what makes it so fucking powerful. That's what makes it so powerful. When you're able to sit down and be like, I'm going to literally experience this emotion and I'm not going to do anything about it because I'm just going to literally validate and acknowledge everything that is here. Then you witness yourself to such a high degree, to such an intensity, that you really see what exactly fucking hurt you. You really feel that shit. And then you recognize that that does influence the way that you treat other people. Because if you treat yourself in a specific manner, so example is if I get angry and I just scoff at myself, right? Then of course I'm going to do that to another person because I think that that's okay to do that. So it's like one of those things where I am recognizing this anger isn't something that I need to be afraid of. It's something that I can face, just like fear. Just like fear. And yes, it does require some level of courage because honestly, laying down boundaries, making an effort to respect another person for how they wish to be treated, that takes work. Sometimes it takes trying and trying again to realize that this person is just not meant for you. So let it go. Let it go. Because it's not about them, it's about you. And you know that you're holding on to that angry feeling because you yourself want that experience to be so raw and seen and vulnerable. When you have your walls up, no one can get past that shit. I'm literally just talking to myself. That's literally what this is, because I'm so over it. I'm so over it. Because I want to work with people. I want to work with people even if we're different. That is maybe how insane I am. Because truly, truly, that could be such a fucking challenge. If I make it a problem, then it will be a problem. So guess what? It's no longer a problem for me. And I had to build myself to that because I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to just let it go. Because some part of me was like, okay, am I being complacent if I just let this shit go? No, because I'm not going to brush it under the rug. I'm literally going to face it head on. I'm going to use all of my fucking skills and all the knowledge that I have, that I've learned from psychology, from therapy, from like literally learning through my own experiences by applying different things. And if this doesn't work out, then I'm honestly going to have to release more because I don't know everything. I don't know how anything's going to turn out. That's why it's so important to try it out, even if you're afraid, even if you kind of don't want to. But you feel this need to speak up for yourself, to be there for yourself. First, do that. Do that. Motherfucking do that shit. Because that shit's so fucking powerful. It can literally change your whole entire goddamn world. I felt my whole world change when I told my parents, like, I actually really want you guys in my life. And if I have kids, this kind of behavior is absolutely fucking unacceptable. I told them, I sat down with them and I was like, no, you cannot talk to someone like that. And I don't mean that to control them, but you cannot talk to me like that. And I am for sure as hell not going to let you talk to my own kids like that. Because that is exactly why I felt so fucking disempowered. And like I didn't even matter. And when someone truly cares for you and you care for them, they are more than happy and willing to work with you. Not because they're going to completely forsake their own like autonomy. No. So that they can continue to not only welcome you into their life, but allow them to be welcomed into your own. That's why boundaries are important. I said to them, I was like, just because you think you know what is a form of success, this is like probably one of the biggest generational karmic lessons that I could even speak about for in terms of anyone who's Korean. This whole thing about like going to school, getting a degree, having a job, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that's what you think is a form of success. And that is so valid. And it's true for some people, but not for me. So you cannot keep repeating yourself. You're not listening to my response. I am no longer open to having this conversation with you because it's no longer a conversation. You are now projecting this image of what you think is best for me when I'm the one who knows what's best for me. And I figure it out every single day. That is the level of self-actualization that I reached with my parents because I was literally telling them this and they listened. They finally listened. And then they put their trust and faith in me. And yes, at some point, my dad was just like, you're just going to do whatever you want, which is true, which is so true. But then I told him, I was like, that doesn't mean that I'm not open to hearing what you have to say. It doesn't mean that your words don't matter. They matter to me. I want to hear what your perspective is. I want to work with you here. So if you give me absolutely fucking nothing, then what am I working with? I'm literally talking to a wall. And things started to change. Being consistent, repeating yourself. And I know that it can be so fucking frustrating and so tiring. I know. I really fucking know that shit. Because you really want someone to understand you. But truly, the only person you really need to understand yourself to such a full-ass capacity extent is yourself. Because if you don't do that, I promise you, you might go insane. Trying to search for that in another person. Because they never went through any of the exact same experiences that you literally went through. It built you. Rightfully so. So Allow yourself to utilize those experiences so that you can empower you, not debilitate you, not to hurt someone, not to project. No, so that you can continue to cultivate energy, so that you can feel alive and look forward to your day. It's just so important for us to enjoy our lives, because your life is so fucking precious. Your life force in itself is so powerful. You naturally change people's lives without even knowing. That's literally how powerful it is. You don't even know who this person is, and they completely fucking love you. In that moment that they got to experience you, they welcomed you so openly. The question is, do you do that with yourself? Do you see your anger, that angry version of yourself? Do you give that version of you the space that it needs to take up for however long that you decide to? It doesn't matter. It's not my place, once again, to decide that, to choose that, to speak on that. I really have been working on this for years. Because I was so tired. And when you really start to feel your emotions deeply, you can literally sense how it's just so much pain. Feeling hurt. And, sometimes you need space. Sometimes you need space to process your anger and your frustrations, because they're valid. That's literally what they are. They're valid ass emotions just presenting themselves to you so that you can understand you, so that you can see you. And I did. And I finally understood that I don't need someone else to do anything for me to feel better. I can actually make a different choice and allow myself to feel more abundant, happy, joyful, full of glee. Making a different choice. Experiment. You have to try it out, because trust me, it'll be a lot more fun for you. When you choose something that you actually desire, that you follow your heart from. And yes, of course, we have our own priorities. We have our own, due diligence that we have to do. Meeting our basic needs. And then addressing all of these other desires that you have. You are so capable of doing that. And I promise that you can do this. I'm cheering for you, truly. Because that I've made so much space for me to experience more joy and more peace. That is truly what it is. Instead of being so angry all the time, I feel so much more peaceful. And I literally changed my whole ass fucking personality. And then at the same time, it wasn't even me being a different person. It's literally I just tapped in more into my core, who I really am to me, and therefore presenting that to the world. There are, of course, moments where I'm just afraid of someone hurting me or blah, 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 just from past experiences. That's my ego talking, obviously. And I'm just you know what? I've had so many new experiences that literally have proved to me. It's already been done. It's been done before. Maybe not through me at some point, but once I lived through it, and I found myself in this space where I'm just you know what? I'm not even going to tap into that. Because if they're upset, they have a problem, that's their responsibility. It's really, I'm just not going to give that my attention. So if I'm upset, how can I speak up for myself without being reactive or defensive? Instead, I can communicate clearly. Hey, like, I just wanted to let you know that I don't really appreciate the way that you treated me in this moment. Do you think we could possibly talk about this and work through it? Because I just kind of want to understand where you're coming from. Because I don't know everything. I don't know what someone else is perceiving in that moment. Then I can understand. Then I can hear what they have to communicate. And if they don't have the space, if things get reactive, if they're literally not listening to me in my own response, I just walk away. Maybe I will try again later. Maybe I won't. That's up for me to decide. Using your discernment is so fucking key in this. So key. So that's the video. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this helped and supported you or whatever. And thank you for being you, truly. Thank you for being alive on God. And I'm sending you so much love and support on your own spiritual journey. Bye, Collective.